and Kevin, Auckland Council Performance Report, the period 1st of July 15 to the 30th of June 2016.
Morning, Madam Chair and councillors. We've got a brief presentation today to take you through the performance report. Mike's going to hand out copies. Okay, just by way of introduction and context setting, we're presenting the interim unaudited results for the June 2016 year end. These are for the Auckland Council parent entity, not the group. The CCO performance results for year end will be presented to the CCO Monitoring Committee in September, and we'll present the full group results in September to the Finance and Performance Committee. The report's got three key components to it. There's a highlights and achievements section, there's the performance measure results, and then there's the financial performance results.
Jenny, excuse me, could you pull that over towards you a bit further?
Okay.
You need to sort of talk into it, it's not very good.
Okay. Yep, so just mentioned that there's three key components to the report: the highlights and achievements, performance measure results, and then the financial performance results. And there's a number of appendices to the report, and these are in key areas where councillors have asked for extra information. The graph there on the right-hand side just provides a bit of a context around one of our key growth indicators. The blue line on the graph there shows the net migration into Auckland, and you can see over the last year there's been an extra 32,000 people moving into Auckland, which is an 18% increase on the prior year, so a big shift in migration, and that obviously impacts our service delivery and provides some challenges, and you'll see that reflected in some of our performance measure results as we go through the information. And the next slide provides some of the highlights and achievements over the last quarter. The report does have a list of highlights and achievements across the year, and that's a bit of a heads up for some of the content that you'll see coming through in the annual report that's presented next month. Next slide is an introduction into the performance measures section. So we're reporting here against the performance measures that were set in the LTP and the targeted service levels that we set through the LTP process. There was quite a big shift in the performance framework with the new LTP, and so we have had internal audit going through and checking our business processes and testing our systems that support the performance measures. That piece of work's completed, and to date, internal audit have reported that there's no significant unresolved issues. We have got the annual survey results included in the report that represents 31% of our performance measures. And the report for the key performance measures, we have got quarterly trend information, so you can see how we've been tracking across the year. We have been reporting the year-end outlook in our report on a quarterly basis to provide a bit of a heads up as to where we expect it to land for year-end. And the results we have for year-end are pretty similar to where we were expecting. Just finally, there is, in Appendix 1, there's some detailed commentary against each of the performance measures, particularly where there are performance gaps and we haven't achieved the targeted service levels that we set in the LTP. Okay, so the next slide provides a summary of the overall performance results for the year end. The big green slice there, 59% of our KPIs we achieved the targeted service levels, and there's a further 6% where we substantially achieved the targeted service level. The red slice, 35% of the measures we didn't achieve our levels, as mentioned, there is detailed commentary in the report around those areas. And the rest of the slide there shows you some samples of different areas, some of the KPIs. A large number of the not achieved KPIs are in the regulatory space, and there are other business areas as well covered in that. Okay, the next slide provides a summary of the building control services area, and we have got Ian McCormick here today who can take any questions that you may have in relation to this. In summary, the slide shows you the trend around the building activity, how we've had a big significant growth in activity over the year with a 13% increase, and the impact on that has been challenges for the team with the processing times for consents has dropped slightly over the year, and customer satisfaction results are also slightly down. And there are a number of actions underway in terms of the Consenting Made Easy program.
So Ian, do you want to speak to that and take questions?
Yes, so if I could just cover off, I guess, the highlights for us. We've lodged 24,000 building consent applications, so that's 13% up from the previous financial year. We approved 21,500 odd building consents, again significantly up on the previous year. One of the big numbers is we've approved just over $7 billion worth of building works in Auckland. That's up 26% on the previous year. So it lends itself to scale and also to complexity. As you'll see in the top graph, we've consented just over 9,500 residential units, and you'll see that tracking across the years 2006 through to 2016, and the red wavy line that's pretty much flatlined is the non-residential value of commercial development at present, likely to change significantly with some of the big commercial projects which are taking off in the very near future. We've delivered 138,000 building inspections. That's 11% up on the previous year. You'll notice that we haven't achieved our targets in terms of our target for our statutory performance for approving building consents. And there's a number of reasons for that. First of all, in terms of attrition, we've lost 17% turnover in building technical staff over the last 18 months. That includes 58 resignations where folk are leaving Auckland to go to areas where housing is cheaper or moving into roles in the industry. We've been putting a significant amount of emphasis on training staff in recent times. First of all, to enable us to be able to fast track our new staff so that they can be as productive as fast as possible, and I guess that makes them more attractive to the industry, and that's, I guess, one of the ongoing challenges we've got. We've trained 80 new staff over the financial year. We've developed a training school. We've run 6 training schools, each of them are 6 weeks long, and we put 90 students through that. And we've continued to manage our quality audit system. Obviously, one of the things we're seeing in the industry is not only scale, but it's also some issues around quality. So very important that the services, the monitoring services and the consent processing services we provide are picking up non-compliant work. Hence, our quality assurance system this year has delivered 1,440 technical quality audits and a further 96 system audits to ensure that we've got a good handle on managing the quality of the work we're seeing in the industry. Sadly, customer satisfaction declined from 48% in the previous year down to 45%. This was using a survey instrument which we have now moved from. We've moved to a survey instrument that's more sensitive. I think from my experience of this survey, that 3% probably isn't that significant. It's probably driven by one of 3 things. Customer satisfaction in the studies we've done to date is in building control is around 1, timeliness of service delivery. It's around appropriateness or perceived appropriateness of technical decision making, and also consistency of service delivery. One of the things that we have struggled with over the last 12 months is dealing with the fluctuating very high work volumes, and if I had to put my finger on the reasons why we've got a slight decline there, it's due to struggling with work volumes. We have, however, a number of initiatives in place to deal with that around increasing our effective capacity. And with your indulgence, I'll rattle through that.
Yes.
So first of all, technology, as you're well aware, Nucor rolls out in October. That'll, in our northwestern areas, that'll provide a really good framework and increased consistency in the way we deliver services and enable us to be able to get some greater efficiency out of some of the other technology-based initiatives we've got going at the moment. We've got mobile technology which we've rolled out throughout the whole of the region over this financial year, and we're getting some real benefits out of that. We're developing a booking and scheduling tool which will enable us to be able to see all of the inspections that are being booked, all of our inspection capability across the region, and actually allocate that work in the most effective way. That will increase our capacity significantly. And finally, online consenting. I'm pleased to say that on that channel we're now up to 9%. So 9% of all of the building consent applications in the Auckland region are now going through that digital channel. There's a number of great things about that. One thing, it's better for customers, and it's also more effective for us. It enables us to be able to gain access to any processing capacity that exists around the rest of the country. So one of the strategies we've got at the moment is around making use of capacity in Porirua City Council, Wellington City Council, and we've also turned on a private provider in Christchurch over the last 6 months. So a very useful thing. There's a number of small tweaks we're making to that online consenting application, which we're anticipating to have completed on the 18th of August, and then we'll be looking to increase the proportion of applications we have on that channel significantly over the following 3 months. And again, that'll make a big difference to our effective capacity. In terms of meeting demand, we've got a program which is focused entirely on meeting demand. It's around turning on and identifying capacity around the rest of the country we can reach with our newly found digital channels, making better use of exemptions under Schedule 1, which enables us to be able to exempt certain types of work from the requirements for a building consent, waiving certain types of inspections for people we recognise are competent. We're also looking at engaging with Canadian building surveyors. It's a technique which was used by Christchurch several years ago. We got some learnings out of that as part of this program. We think we have a good understanding of the attributes of a Canadian building surveyor, which will be useful here. One of the great things about Canada is it's got a building code which is very similar to New Zealand. It means that knowledge and competency in the Canadian building code translates very well to this country. So we are looking at engaging with those folk. We'll be aiming to bring them over on a short-term contract for 1 to 2 years, and we consider that that'll enable us to be able to deal with some of the peaks. Once we don't need them, when eventually the building boom does slow down again, they'll head back to Canada or hopefully choose to stay in this country. But it's a useful resource for us to have available for us. We're also doing a lot of work looking at our forecast. The government's construction pipeline report has just been released, which provides some more insights into what we anticipate we'll be seeing in the building and construction industry moving forward. It makes it easier for us to be ensured that we've got the capacity to meet demand moving forward. And finally, consenting made easy. So we've got it's probably the largest regulatory change program that we've got, well, definitely is, within the organisation. It's around streamlining regulatory services. Some of the deliverables from that project will be getting rolled out from the meeting demand program, and we're beginning to see some of those being framed up at the moment. Others will be getting rolled out as early as March. Streamlining our processes and I suppose encouraging different sections of the building industry and enabling them to be able to work more effectively with us so we can reduce regulatory oversight on those folk and put it on some of the folk who need more support.
Thank you, Ian. I've got Councillor Penrose.
Thanks, Madam Chair. How are you going to take this? Is this questions just to Ian at this stage? Or?
Yes, it's questions to Ian. I mean, this is the area, so I just want to talk to
and then I'll
Ian.
reserve to talk to,
Okay.
to customer satisfaction.
Councillor-
I'll talk to Ian. I'll talk to Ian's ones first,
Oh,
and then
yes,
I'll
okay.
talk about customer satisfaction after that, when it arises. Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to make a comment on this one, Madam Chair, and as keeping a close eye on the regulatory area, in particular our building section. and knowing the constraints we're under, and I've sat around this table for quite some time now, that we have some real concerns, real issues as Auckland economy is booming, and particularly around the building area. And Ian's highlighted the fact today, Madam Chair, of the shortages and the difficulties that we have. But may I say, I experienced, and I'm sure others have experienced around this table, when trying to build here in Auckland. And I myself was trying to build, and it's taken 5.5 months to even get it to council. Nothing to do with council, it's to do with architects and engineers.